Welcome back to the Pray Vote Stand Summit here in Atlanta, Georgia. I am here with Libby Emmons, the editor-in-chief of Post Millennial. Libby, it's so great to have you here.
Thanks so much. Glad to be here.
Well, I know you just got off of the main stage. You were in a panel. Tell me what you talked about.
We were talking about media. We were talking specifically about new media and independent media and the what that can do in our culture right now, how we can combat some of the lies and falsehoods that we see coming out of the mainstream media outlets. Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
This may seem like an obvious question, but what kind of lies do we see coming from the mainstream media?
Well, my goodness, I think they are legion. There are so many. And we were talking about this on stage. You have so much of the information that we were given about COVID that turned out later to just not be factually correct. We're told that learning loss isn't really a problem, and then you have speech therapists coming out and saying, oh, kids are not reaching their milestones, so that was incorrect. We had the Hunter Biden laptop story, where there was accurate reporting on this, and media outlets refused to cover it. There's the persistent Russia collusion hoax. We see that. So I think there's also all of this. There's a lot of biases. We're seeing this week about how Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida sent 50 illegal migrants out to Martha's Vineyard, and everybody freaked out and somehow is blaming Ron DeSantis. It's 50 people. It's 50 people. And imagine what the border towns are going through, dealing with multiples of 50 every day. Yet the New York Times and CNN go on about the humanitarian rescue efforts of the people of Martha's Vineyard, completely ignoring the fact that this is actually a huge crisis, and that what DeSantis did was a way to point out this huge crisis, not to burden the overly wealthy white people on Martha's Vineyard.
Well, you prove the point that the list goes on and on and on. You mentioned that there's so much bias in media. Is there such thing? I feel like this is the age-old question. Is there such thing as unbiased media? And what does it look like to, maybe if there isn't, navigate finding a good news source?
Yeah, I don't think that any of us are without our biases. I think what's important is to be aware that we have them, and to be aware of which way we are leaning personally, and to always be re-examining your beliefs, always to be re-examining what your assumptions are, so that you can try to not make them, so that you can correct them, so that you understand what it is you believe and why. And I think it's important to always interrogate that for all of us, no matter what. I also think it behooves news organizations to say directly if they have a bias, which everybody has. So the Post Millennial is a center-right news and culture outlet. We are clear about that. We don't say that we are some particularly objective. We're always going to give you exactly. We're not robots. And even as we see with algorithms and whatnot else, none of those things are particularly objective anyway. So I think what makes sense is for people to constantly be trying to understand what they believe and why, to be aware of their own assumptions. And so when you read news, and when you read culture, and when you read opinion, to know which way you lean, and to know which way the outlet leans. And if something seems like it's not right, do a little digging and figure out what's going on.
That's very helpful advice. I have one more question for you. How can we connect with the Post Millennial?
You can connect with the Post Millennial all over the place. The Post Millennial is Post Millennial on Twitter. We're on Truth Social, I think, at The Post Millennial. We're on Getter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and of course we're at thepostmillennial.com. We also have an opinion side, which is Human Events. We're at humanevents.com, and you can follow me. I'm on Twitter, I'm at Libby Emmons, and I'm pretty sure I'm at Libby Emmons on all the other things as well.
Amazing. Thanks so much for your time, Libby.
Thanks so much, I appreciate it.